Is that it, boss?
Oh, really?
Good, how are you? Get everything together. That's not too bad of time.
You're right.
Better than I thought it was gonna be. All right, I've got 5:05. I'll call the meeting to order. Today, Monday, July 7th, 2025. Roll call, we have Selectman Mackenzie Jewett, Kevin Buck, myself, Jamie Thurlow, Town Manager Jesse Dunbar, and Town Clerk Sarah Abbott. And both Howdy has called out sick and Eric is on vacation.
I make a motion to excuse Howdy Goodwin and Eric Eaton from tonight's meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to excuse Howdy Goodwin and Eric Eaton from tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right, adoption of agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to change on the agenda? All right, next we have a public hearing. We have a public hearing for discussion of deer hunting. I'm not sure, did you have this as a handout, Jesse, so people could see the options that
No,
they're?
but no problem.
Okay. Well, first I'll open up the public hearing at 5:06. If you would, before you state anything, just state your name, and if you're a Tremont resident or not, and then whatever you have to say. Basically, do you wanna give a summary to this, Jesse, or you want me to take it?
You can.
Okay. The long and the short of it is that we got here because there was a bill that was kinda slid in front of us by someone who doesn't represent our district, and they were looking to open hunting in this area, and we were made aware of it and kind of have worked through things with the state, and they have asked us to look into options and of whether we are interested in doing a hunt or not. Through the meetings that we've had so far, we have looked into expanded archery season, a residents-only hunt, and a limited license group are kind of the three things that we've narrowed it down to. If we were gonna do anything, those would be the three things. I know there are various ideas among select board members of what would work and what wouldn't work. So basically, we just were going through the motions and just wanted to get people's input on, we've done this before, and I know we've decided not to because we didn't feel like it was a safe way to conduct a hunt of any sort, and just open it up again and see what the residents feel they're comfortable with, whether to do anything about it or just stay with what we're doing currently. Is that good, Jesse?
Yep, Sarah's making copies of the handout I can pass out, but it kinda just goes over the bullet points of each of the three options. The expanded archery opens from September through December, is the state's regular expanded archery season. Requires a town vote approval, and then the state would approve it. It's the quicker of the three processes, because the state just reviews it as a regular hunting season. The town could set a sunset date. The state would have to approve of that if we only wanted a specific amount of time to try it out, so to speak. It would not be limited to residents. It would be anyone with a hunting license could come here and hunt. Permission would still be needed from all private landowners, and hunting would be archery only. The second option, resident-only hunt, the town would need to draft the plan specifying all the details of what that means. Again, it would require town approval and the approval from the Inland Fisheries Committee. It's a special hunt. This would be limited to Tremont residents with a hunting license, and hunting could be by firearm. And then the third is the limited license group. The town would need to draft this plan specifying the details as well. Would require town approval, and approval from the Inland Fisheries Committee. Town would set the regulations, the dates, etc. in the plan. And the town select board would choose the number of approved hunters and who those hunters are who are allowed to hunt. And hunting would be by firearm.
And then option 4 obviously is to do nothing. All right, anybody want to start with comment? Just remember, if you would please just state your name and for the record, and then your comment.
Alex Johnson, Seal Cove. I think it's been long enough. It's time to open up archery back here, and I would suggest doing archery only, the expanded archery. Few things you guys got over. We do need landowner permission. One good thing about expanded archery would be it's antlerless tags, which means younger deer, the breeders, antlers 3 and less. So one big thing that would do would keep trophy hunters out, which we don't need. A few other things is just 99% of shots from an arrow or from a tree pointed straight down. I think it's just time to thin the herd. I think more people are going to get into car accidents, Lyme disease, than getting shot with arrows. It's a short season, and again, it doesn't have to be island-wide. I would think that it would be better on the backside here, where there are fewer people, and a lot of the people that I think it's affecting, it's not so much year-rounder people that live here. And it's a great way to fill my freezer. I've been hunting since I could walk with Dad. I prefer archery. I know a lot of other people do it. A lot of the only good expanded archery season is out on the outer islands. You don't hear about people doing it. If we opened it back up, everybody would pick up their bows, and I think we should thin the herd a little bit. Again, we want to fill our freezer. I think that's it.
Okay, thanks.
One thing that might be worth mentioning is it isn't island-wide, it's town by town. Each town decides. So it was the bill in the legislature was to do island-wide.
It is to do it island-wide?
Well, it failed. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
So-
think that would be a good idea. Obviously, we live in a national park area.
Yeah.
People do want places to feel.
Yeah. But again, we're only talking about Tremont here.
Yeah, and I think that's where town to town is. Thank you.
Yes,
I'm just curious, from
State
a
your name
practicality
first.
point of view.
name first and then,
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark Fink.
Yep.
Mass Harbor. So whichever option, if any, are selected, is it a given that the IFW is going to write off on the feasibility of each one, or that's unknown?
it's not known. We've had meetings with them and I don't, it sounds like they were more in favor of opening things up wide open, in my opinion, is what I took back from it, and I was very surprised at how they just wanted to open things right up. But I think a lot of these other options are very specific, and I think it's gonna take a lot of work to get through the details to get it where you want it, and for their approval.
Yeah, I mention that only because, as he said before, the last time we went around, my recollection was that the IFW generally is just gonna look at it from the point of view of practicality of administration, whichever way you decide to go. Would you say that's true?
Okay. All right. Another comment?
My name is George Sanker.
Yep.
I moved here 13 years ago for one reason, really, aside from the fact that it's a beautiful place, but that there was no hunting. I'm a wildlife photographer, a serious wildlife photographer, and travel a lot of places to do it. I always pick national parks because in national parks and great state parks, the animals learn that they're protected. They learn that people aren't going to hurt them, and you get to see things that you can't see in a place where they're hunted. You see their behavior, you see their babies, you see bucks on an island like this that live to full maturity, that would be dead anywhere else in Maine. This island comprises, I believe, less than 1% of the state of Maine, so people who hunt can go anywhere in Maine virtually to do it. If there were hunting, I agree with this gentleman that archery would be the only way to go. Half this island is a national park, the other half is very developed. Residences, businesses, roads, schools, churches, and the last thing we need are bullets flying around the limited developed side of this island. But to me, even with archery, it's an amazing thing as somebody who's interested in wildlife. It's magic to see an animal trust you, accept your presence, and the only way to get great wildlife photography is when that happens. Otherwise, yeah, you might see a deer, a buck, and as soon as they see you, they're off and running. You don't observe their personalities, they're all different, they have different emotions, they're individuals, and they get killed all over the country by hunters. This is one sanctuary that's still left. There's others like Yellowstone, where I go a lot. You see things in Yellowstone you would never see in a hunted area. And white-tailed deer, yeah, there's a lot of white-tailed deer here. You could slow down, you could lower the speed limit. I live as far off the island as anybody can live in Bass Harbor. And if the speed limit went, say, from 50 to 45, 45 to 40, it might take me another minute and a half to get off the island, because you're always going to get stopped by 25-mile-an-hour zones, school zones, slow drivers. So as far as accidents, just slow down. But I think it's just the magic of this island. This is really a dream place to live. And if you have bullets flying, it would not be the amazing sanctuary that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. One thing I did want to add to that was that there is hunting allowed on this island now. Everything is open except for deer. So that's one thing that we've kind of learned through this process, that just because we're not used to seeing it doesn't mean it's not allowed. Everything actually is. Deer are the only things that aren't allowed to be hunted on the islands right now. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Nancy Weingarten. I actually live in Southwest Harbor, although I live in Seawall, so it's close enough. But I am chair of the Sustainability Committee in Southwest Harbor, and I'm here with the person heading our working group on environmental issues. And we're nowhere near as, first of all, we're not as old a sustainability committee as you guys have with Sarah and so on. We just pretty much started this spring, and we are taking up and talking about the issue of deer as part of our agenda. And a couple of things. One, you've heard from people from the state and the different commissions and so on. And I'm not talking about the bill. If I'm correct, you've had some visitors, correct?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm hoping I can maybe steal some time from Jesse or whomever and learn a little bit about what was said, and not have to completely reinvent, everything and get these people to come back down here. So there's some of that I would like to do, and we just want you to know at this point that we are seriously looking at it. There have been a number of discussions at our select board and among people in town about culling the herd in some fashion. It's definitely an issue that many people care about, one way or the other. But one question is, if there were to be a hunt, what time of year would you do a hunt?
That's all to be determined. I think everything
Okay.
Depending on what the hunt was,
Right.
that would make a difference, and how it was
Sort
set
of
up.
assuming it wouldn't be in the middle of summer when there are.
No, I don't, I can pretty much guarantee that much, yeah.
Okay, and I don't know,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if that's the right answer, but we have got a number of people in town who have talked to me certainly, and other people on our sustainability committee who are suffering with long Lyme disease, for example, and, haven't even found the medical resources here to be really fully up to date on a lot of this as well. So there's a lot of issues here, as I'm sure you all well know, and we would like to just stay in touch and know what's happening and let you know that this is a subject that is definitely gonna be talked about, and eventually, probably in the fall or late fall, some sort of recommendation from the sustainability committee will go to our select board.
Mhm.
It could be as simple as doing a referendum saying, would you approve, et cetera.
Mhm.
But we care.
Yep.
We're interested.
Thank you. Yes. We'll let everybody go once first that wants to, and then I'll
Yeah.
come back to you. Yep, yes, Patty, yep.
If
And I
one
know,
of these-
I know your name, but could you just state it for the record,
Oh,
please?
Patty,
Yeah.
Patty. Live in Seal Cove. If one of these was approved, like say the archery season, could we then enforce that people can't feed the deer?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like,
Yes.
I don't think you can now, right?
Yeah.
Because we have no hunting, so there's no reason you're trying to bait them, but I feel like the quality of the food and the health of the deer are affected by the fact that they're fed. Sometimes I think it would be a big benefit to educate people and also enforce it, so they didn't feed it. Would it be able to be done?
I'm sure it would be able to be done. I don't wanna be the one to do it, I can tell you that. I'm not gonna go down and tell my mother to stop feeding her deer, I can tell you that. You're more than welcome.
Yeah. That's a hard.
Yeah, okay, any other, or yes, George, again.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say one thing about Lyme disease. There was a study done at Harvard School of Public Health in 2010 on Cranes Beach in Massachusetts, which is a pretty big sanctuary, 400 deer there. Lyme disease was a problem there, as it is basically in all of New England. So they did a very in-depth study. They killed 3/4 of the 400 deer that lived there, and it had no effect whatsoever on Lyme disease. Deer do not carry, they carry ticks, they do not spread the disease. You know, the way the disease begins is with mice that get infected, pets get ticks on them, deer get ticks on them, every mammal get ticks on them. But it's a complicated disease, there's never been a direct link. You'd have to kill all the deer on the island, basically. But to kill the number that we're talking about, in my opinion, and based on this study, would have zero effect on Lyme disease.
Okay, thanks. Yes.
I'm Diane McMullen, and I live on Lighthouse Road next to the park. We've been there for 30 years. My dad was one of 4 brothers who hunted, and we ate what we shot. And it was not a machine gun that was going with bullets all over the place. That's not how they hunted. We have so many deer in our yard, and I mean in our yard, not out up the hill, right looking in our windows. I've had a deprivation permit since 2014, which means that my hunter can get 2 deer. And then I have to call and get it renewed, and maybe if I'm lucky, get 1 more. I can't tell you how much money we have spent on trying to keep the deer out of our gardens. We, this year, put in some light sensors, which just shows them where they can eat better. I can show you the receipt from Salisbury Hardware the other day, where I spent almost $250 on different repellents, and I never know. They ate my fern that has been on that property before we even built our house. It's a native fern that they've never touched, and they decimated it the other day. I can spray, I can put out all kinds of granular, but they're gonna find that one thing, and I am tired of it. I'm exhausted, financially, physically. I don't understand why people have to humanize the deer. They're beautiful, I love them, but there are too many of them. And people around here are hungry. We have people that come to the food pantry and can't afford to feed their family. I don't understand why we have to humanize the deer to the point that we're not being practical. There has to be a limit both directions. With all due respect to the gentleman that does the wildlife, that's great. In Yellowstone, you go into the park. Here, the park is everywhere, so it's a totally different environment. That's fine. It's okay.
You done, okay,
Henry
thank you.
Cullen, and spouse, no, I disagree, I got Connecticut Lyme disease, and it knocked me out of my butt for about a week. It was worse than getting COVID. I had to pay people to mow my lawn, because I didn't even have the strength to get out of bed. So now, Connecticut Lyme disease is nasty, and I agree, we're near the park, and we're just a smorgasbord for the deer. I wanna kill them all.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Hill from Southwest Harbor, and I came here because you guys are my neighbors. And I guess I kind of got in on the conversation in the end, but quite frankly, I realize that they take out people's gardens and that people feel that they're overpopulated. But I think that should have been a decision for us to make. Why Billy Bob Falkingham was able to bring this forward is really kind of interesting. I mean, we don't go to his backyard and figure out what to do in Winter Harbor. So I'm looking at the reasons why people want to do this. So there's the question, or the point on overpopulation. There's also a discussion on Lyme. And that is actually correct information on the Lyme in Connecticut. There was a cull that was done from 1996 to 2004. They took out 85% of the deer population. It made zero difference in the Lyme. The reason for that is, once you take out the carriers, and they're just carriers, then another thing does it. So then you have rodent infestation. You have a different set of problems that come from that. Another question I have is bow hunting. I think that if something like this has to be done, then it really should be done by sharpshooters, by people who are actually trained in doing this, who don't have a bloodlust to go out and do it. So, bow and arrow, the chances of killing your deer with that bow and arrow are about 67%. So then what you've got is you've got a bunch of deer that are wounded and bleeding out, and then you have your people with the bow and arrows who are following those trails and eventually getting them, maybe. So I think the thought is, if it has to be done, and I'm not convinced it has to be done, I figure let's start at the other end of it, maybe stop feeding them. So we have that. I myself feed deer, and then again, I live next to the national park, and I don't have a problem with it. And I humanize deer because just like most other living creatures, and ones that we even call pets, they do have personalities. They do and have established trust with us because up until 120 years ago, well, 120 years ago, hunting was banned. There were a few instances where people came in and did a short cull, but they've established trust. This is one of the reasons that tourists come to our islands, because they want to come and they want to see this and they want to be in the park where these creatures are. I realize that the comment was made that people want to fill their freezers. Totally understood. Get it? Everybody gets hungry. And back to the thing, if it has to be done, then maybe make some kind of arrangement with these sharpshooters that, the people actually get to eat these deer. I think a lot of concern seems to be about people's gardens. So I guess my point on the gardens is maybe make a better fence. We are in their backyard.
Makes sense. We have 12 acres.
12 acres and.
That's a big fence.
So you don't have a fence at all, but maybe maybe that. I looked at car accidents, I looked at different things.
Significant thing too.
I was wondering why we have the bony deer and people said, oh, it's because they're starving. Actually, they got worms. They're really wormy, because the other thing we've done is we've killed off part of their natural ecosystem. So I suggest we find ways that we can be better caretakers of the islands and the animals that are here before we just jump into, let's go ahead and kill them. And let's do that because some guy who lives in Winter Harbor thought it would be a good freaking idea. So I think that's probably all I have to say on it. But I think this would be by far one of the worst decisions they could possibly make. Thank you.
And just to be clear on that, this has been brought up many times before. He brought this up. This was just a recent thing that kind of threw it in front of us. Wasn't something that we were looking into until it came on our plate again, so. Any other comments?
Can I just add one more?
Okay.
Sorry. I agree with everything she said, but as far as Billy Bob Falkingham, I just want to say that he's an avid hunter. He posts pictures of holding up dead animals on his Facebook account. He says people in NBI came to him for help, never named who those people were, but my guess is they're avid hunters too.
No, actually he did. It was published, I believe, in
He named
the,
names?
yes.
Okay.
Yep, it was published who did, and the person is not an avid hunter, and they live in the town of Bar Harbor. So nothing to do with here. Yes.
My name's Ellen Mitchell, I live in Tremont. I think that the herd population is unhealthy, it's too big, it's not sustainable. No one, I come from a family of hunters, we appreciate what is harvested, we eat everything we hunt. We could go turkey hunting in my backyard, like I'm allowed to go hunt coyotes, we could do all that on MDI, just like he already said. No one's gonna go in the park and hunt. The herd is so big that there's no way we are gonna wipe out the herd. But it's too much, like the herd can't take care of itself, it's too big. And that's not healthy, just in every system, like everything has a natural way that it's taken care of. And when we're feeding them and making them pets and wanting so many of them, it's just not healthy for them, for us, for anyone.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Oh, yes. Al.
Alex, first, one thing is the culling of a herd and hiring people to come in and just massacre a bunch of deer and dump them in a gravel pit is a little insane to me. You can't just kill 400 deer then immediately find a home for that meat. That's much. The deer and the ticks, they jump from critter to critter. Every deer I pull out from the outer islands every year probably has about 60, 70 ticks on it. They are a feeding station, but if we limited the amount of feeding station, yes, they're gonna go to other critters and stuff, but they don't have a mobile blood tank to keep them up. I just don't understand how you can take away the biggest feed source and then just not have them. And a deer is a wild animal. It shouldn't trust you. It should not be not afraid to cross the road. A deer shouldn't be terrified of you, but a wild animal should be a wild animal. Wild animals should not be fed. That blows my mind that people think it's okay to feed a wild animal. And then with the sickness, they have worms and whatever else they have because there's too many of them. They're crowded. And they're gonna get sick. And all we need is one real hard winter on this island. They will eat themselves out of house and home in one season, and then we'll have 50 deer, and then our tourists will see none. And then for the 67% of accurate bow hunt, that blows my mind. Who shoots at that many deer and misses one? The deer need to be, this is a food supply for me. I calculated it's like $4 or $5 grand I save every year by shooting deer. I have to go out to the friggin' outer islands. I have to get on a rowboat, row to a boat, drive out to the outer island, get off the rowboat, go into my tree stand, hopefully shoot a deer, drag that deer onto the rowboat, onto another boat, drive it back onto another rowboat, and then I have to drag it up a friggin' hill. And I've gotta drive all the way over here, and then I tag it, and then I come home and I hang it, and I butcher it, and I use absolutely as much of the meat as I can. I smash the bones up with my tractor, they go in the friggin' gully. Well, it's just, I think that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Nancy Sweeney, Past Harbor. So I don't intentionally feed the deer, but I am feeding the deer because I buy plants, I plant things, I have trees in my yard. Unless I lived in a gravel pit, I am feeding the deer, as are we all. Anyone who's lived here more than 15, 20 years has seen the herd grow exponentially. So I'm wondering, if we do nothing now, in 10 years, what are we gonna have? We're gonna have a serious, serious problem on our hands because all of these deer that are protected are breeding. They're all breeding and it's growing exponentially and we have to do something about it before we reach that point. I think we've actually passed that point. Should have been a while ago. I don't know what the solution is, but I like the fact that they're trying to find one.
Thanks. All right, any more?
I guess one last thing.
Okay.
If you really wanna see an animal or deer at its most natural, pristine, uninhibited creature as it can be, is when you're in a tree stand and that deer does not know you're there and he comes about his business. That deer is acting different around these places because it trusts us. That is not a wild animal. That is a pet. You're out watching a little critter that we feed.
Not that.
And I think it's great that you're getting photos and stuff, that's awesome, but I wanna see nature at its best. I'm sitting in
Yeah,
a
me
tree.
too.
Quiet.
I wanna see these
Oh,
animals.
hang on a sec, we have a comment up here.
Was it ever considered, having the option of just letting residents hunt on their property to harvest? Is that?
We have gone through over the,
Lots.
probably 3 times this has been addressed since I've been on the select board. And we have tried options that seem to make very good common sense, and the state doesn't think they are very good ideas.
Sounds like we want it.
So they, this time seems to be maybe more open than they have been in the past about something like that, but I brought up to them Swan's Island. This is a good example as far as, you know, I know myself, just to give a little background, any of you who don't know me, my family's lived here for generations. We used to, when I was my son's age, we'd ride around Seawall. You're lucky if you saw 1 deer in the evening. Now you're seeing 100. You can see easily 100 on a drive through Seawall. There was what, Kevin, you said 96, 98, whatever there was around there.
98 one, no. we
Beach
didn't get
Hill
into
was
that.
was kind of the spot. If you saw a few deer up on Beach Hill, that was like, that's where they were. So the population has skyrocketed. And I mentioned Swan's Island went through a very similar situation. They opened it up under a residents only hunt. I went down there, you know, was just part of it with some people, and that, in my opinion, went very well to what, you know, what it should. The state doesn't seem to have the same feeling. I think they felt like it didn't pan out how the town was hoping for. And now it's open to everyone. They just have it opened up straight across the board, which was news to me. I haven't been down there in years for it, but, so I think a residents only hunt seemed to be very difficult for us to ever get them to approve, if that's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, I think that might be a problem. I think it's a kind of a confusing situation. It kind of would have been nice if there was a true quote-unquote wildlife expert, because I think there's some implicit recognition by almost everybody that there is a problem. And so the perception of that problem is, you know, do we have this, you know, uncontrolled slaughter of these beautiful creatures, or do we just let them keep going on? So I think that if it was presented in such a way, maybe, you know, that there was nuance. For example, I mean, I don't think it's even legal to feed deer, at least not for.
A few months out of the year it is.
I mean, it's actually not that good for them to feed them. It builds bad habits and also has been proven in certain cases to actually enable, facilitate spread of diseases. There's other things like deer taste good to more animals than just us. They taste good to other predators, so what do you know? You got lots of deer that's gonna be bringing in other predators. And I think a lot of people, they're probably not even aware of the degree of presence of predators that come in. Maybe they just don't see them at night or whatever. So, you know, last time I went through this, I was just sort of all gung-ho, but I'm taking sort of a neutral stance because I think that, like I said, there's a little bit of polarization in my opinion without people really, you know, being aware of the true issues. So it's more than just, you know, these deer are terrible and they carry Lyme disease, and then somebody else says, oh no, it's been proven they don't, or whatever. So it's just gonna become this sniping kind of thing. And I've been here 50 years, but I haven't, you know, been multi-generations. I've seen things change a lot in that time, and I know from people who have been here multiple generations. I mean, it was the thing they did as part of growing up, was to hunt and take deer as a mean of sustenance for their families. So I think, you know, all those things need to be looked at and balanced, in my opinion, not just, yeah, either we have a slaughter or we don't, you know? Does that make sense?
I think there will be a lot of research that goes into it.
I learned last time, like I said, last time around, not to take this, gotta have it my way kind of attitude. I'm just saying that I think there's a lot of stuff on both sides that people aren't taking into consideration. You know, for example, you probably agree with this, you look at the deer population, and I do, because I'm out in the woods all the freaking time. We have a disbalance. It is primarily does. Would you agree? Here on the island. So what does that mean? That means that these does are producing once, sometimes twice a year. They can have a late rut and then a secondary one. Long story short, does do what does do, and so do the bucks. So this is creating a situation where, because of the protected status, they are reproducing at a far higher rate than they would be at the wild. So yeah, you can kick the can down the road, but there's, like I'm saying, there's more complexity to this, I think, than people might understand.
And we've gone through, just to be clear, we've gone through all of this. It's not like we're just walking into this. This is night number one. We have gone through, we've had many, many meetings, so this is just a public hearing, so it's to get input, but we have gone through statistics. We have seen what we are being told for Lyme disease. We are, you know, all of the stuff that is coming from the state to us. So we've already been through all
more
of
for
it.
the benefit of
Yes.
the publics.
Okay.
Because ultimately, they're the ones that will be
Mhm.
voting and approving one way or the other.
Yes.
Okay.
Alex, and then, yeah.
One thing for predators, yeah, it's bringing in a crap ton of extra coyotes and stuff, and there go my chickens. I also rely on a lot of chicken meat and turkey meat, and also do pheasants. I lose a lot of birds due to the coyotes and stuff at night. Yeah, I have to try my hardest to get them all in. It's hard to manage all of them with everything else. But yeah, so yeah, bring in that. Who here is actually for the hunt? How many of you would actually go out and hunt? So the numbers of people that are actually gonna go out and hunt, I think, are significantly low. But a couple of you guys probably have a friend who wants to come out and hunt. Where are they gonna hunt? Specifically your land where you told them to hunt, and they're gonna respect that. And I do think having a non-res thing, I think it should probably be open to whoever. I think it'd be just harder to be like residents only. There's already a really fine set rule for expanded archery. And again, with expanded archery, we're being encouraged to shoot all the little ones. Once they're gonna go out and breed, And without thinning them all out, every single deer gets to breed. So now we're passing down horrible genetic mutation, bad traits into these deer. Why does the deer with 3 legs get to breed now? That seems kind of weird, and well, I don't know why we'd encourage that. Why do all the deer that would be normally sick and die of some liver disease now get to pass that trait on to deer that will then go off island and spread their bad genes to the people in Trenton and Des Moines? And generational, like you said, I'm 5th generation. I just put my 5th generation on my chunk of land in Seal Cove. That's what Dad and Grampy and they all did. Grew up poor, you know, look around. The majority of the people in this part of the island are not doing super awesome, and you know they'd love to go in the backyard, tag a deer, and eat it, and not have to go out and do a whole ordeal to go off island. Where are you gonna go off island? You gotta know a guy that has a guy who happens to have a couple extra 100 acres and might let you hunt in that little spot after he shoots his deer. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's it again. This is a tough one. I get everybody feels one way strongly about it.
I got a question related to that, sorry to interrupt. Do you think there's actually enough hunters on the island?
No, so I don't think it'd be,
I mean,
the
that's
massacre, the word
kind of
massacre
what
is
I'm
really
worried about.
odd.
I'm wondering, maybe a dozen people, you know, kids don't do it anymore.
Nobody archery hunts. I don't know anybody that shoots deer with a bow. Actually, I probably know 2 or 3 people. But the fact, and the big reason we don't do it is because we gotta travel out to these outer islands to do expanded archery. Yeah, not that, I just don't think that many people are gonna flock to this place and shoot. They're gonna hear, oh, I can't take my gun. You know, those are the kind of people we don't want hunting deer. People that wanna go out and shoot with guns. There's no sport in it. And bow is safer, you're in one stationary place, and, you know, it's all about respect. Yeah, I mean, we're shooting the deer, that sucks, but it's just how it's been done forever, and I can't stress it. I mean, I save so much money. Name something healthier to eat. If I'm going to the grocery store buying processed meat from everything, even if it says organic, I mean, that's what's better than a deer. I harvested myself and I prepped it the way it is, and got my daughter and my wife into it, and it's just, you know, 5th generation. I'm not hurting real bad, but I like to be able to eat good food, and I hunt rabbit and turkey on my property. There's like 500 acre. Well, I live between, you guys know, between Tremont Road and the Cape Road, where there's so much land back there. Done.
I
All
have
right.
a question.
Yes, Nancy.
So, an archer, how many, deer can an archer tag?
It completely depends on how this is set up. This can be, I mean, we can literally have it open like the state would have it open, which would be 1 or 2, depending on how the doe tags work, whether it's antlered or antlerless, or, there's so many moving parts to all this that, we can kind of get exactly what we want.
Can we raise it above what the state has for, like, if
Yes.
we say like you could each have
Mm.
5 or 10?
Yeah, no, we could, I mean, we
It's
can,
not-
there's
can't you
a
buy more
possibility,
tags?
yeah.
It's
Right?
gonna take,
Yep.
Yes, okay.
especially in the first few
How many
years,
can you
it's gonna
buy?
take raising
As many as you
that
want?
and having a lot of them.
Yeah, okay,
I know
yes.
we keep
Yeah.
arguing about archers and guns are bad, which I'm a little confused about, because aren't the same rules gonna apply? You're not gonna be able to shoot so many feet from the road, you're not gonna be able to shoot near
Right.
houses, you're not gonna be able to shoot near any buildings. And a lot of people in Tremont have pretty big lots, and we have our own little herd of deer. I think it doesn't only have to be, you're right, there's not a lot of archers. I know you say there's, I get what you're saying about the archers, that they're quiet and
They come out of the
calmer
Yeah.
and whatever, but it's not like the people with guns are like, oh my god, deer, oh my god. But it's not how it works. Like, it's a lot like archery. You know, you're quiet, you're sneaking up on them, you're sitting in tree stands. I think if we wanted to make a real dent, that it would have to be more than just archery, because as you said, I know people that hunt that way, but it's only a handful compared to the people that use guns.
Hang on just a second. I just was gonna go back onto as far as, I think the biggest thing, if there was any sort of an open hunt, which I'm not saying I'm for that, but if there was an open hunt, is the restrictions on lots. Like if you have a 2 acre lot, you might think you can shoot on that. chances are you can't.
No, that's right, cause it has to be 10 or
you-
more on the.
Yeah, how many, what do you have to be, Heath, for distance? 100 yards, yeah, I thought it was 150 or something, but, 100, if you're 100 yards away from another person's land or dwelling, or, I think that you're gonna be very, very limited to where you could shoot in this town. I think you would have to definitely know someone to be able to shoot
Oh,
safely,
right,
or,
right.
and that goes back to why, I have, if we should get into I was gonna ask at the end what we personally think, but I'll start. What I personally think is that there should be, if we're gonna do anything, it needs to be a limited license group. Why I believe that is because I believe the lots are way too small. I think that you are gonna have people that are not going by the rules, and believe it or not. And they're gonna be shooting too close to houses. I don't want anyone getting shot on my watch. I think that having people come in from out of town and shoot is just totally unsafe. You can go out back of my house, I have a huge chunk of land, looks like you're out in the wilderness, and then you don't realize there's a house that wraps right around right behind it. I really think that it's very challenging to hunt here and do it safely with the park being so close. There's so many subdivisions, there are so many things. I think it would be extremely challenging, so I think that, I've made it pretty public before, the only way that I would ever vote for anything to be open would be a limited license group that we would choose, and that would be led by someone who has a huge background in hunting or trapping here. They know where everybody lives. We had someone who spoke on behalf of when they did the same thing in Orono Island, and they went and had a gun club do it, but they had a target number. They said, whatever this number was, this is what we think we need the population to be dropped by. And then they would go resident to resident. They would stop down in McMillan and say, hey, do you mind if we hunt on your property? And they say, yes. They go to the neighbor. The neighbor says, no. That's fine. They just would go to people who would say, yes, we don't mind if we hunt on your property, and they would hunt on their property. Most of the people said they never even knew the hunt was happening. It was totally in the back, behind, I think that's, in my opinion, that's the only safe way to conduct a hunt in this town, as it's populated now, but that's just my 2 cents. Is, Patty, and then I was gonna have the rest of the board if they want to do what their thoughts were. Okay, yes, Patty.
So, I live down in Dodge Point.
Yeah.
And that used to be great hunting territory, I think. I mean, it was, when we first lived there, we were legal, I'm sure, but they did. And stuff, now I think it's all got Maine Coast Heritage Trust restrictions on it. Can you hunt on the airline? And also other ones, then, cause the national park comes in and has to look over, they share the oversight of the land, like they make their visits every year. It's like a partnership between them. They took over everything, all the way that wraps around to Dick's Point, all the way to it's like a lot of these big pieces of land got more restrictions than they did 20 or 30 years ago.
And I agree, and I think that from my experience with the outer islands is you have to get permission, and that's the right way to do it from Maine Coast Heritage Trust.
So they still let you.
Yeah, and I think that it depends on who you talk to or whether you can get permission or not, so I think that's oh, yes, did you have one?
For the arrow thing, I think that's just a good place to start. So with an arrow, you won't shoot any further than, 30 yards is pushing it for a safe, good, clean kill with an archery. I'm all about using guns. I'm responsible with my guns and stuff, but I think it's just a good place to start. A bullet's gonna go 2-3 miles. I mean, if you're above the tree line, it is what it is. I think it's just a good place to start. I don't want people to feel, we gotta find that happy balance somewhere, even though we'll have low numbers with the archery. I just think, or maybe even shotgun only. I just think rifles on the island is a bad idea. maybe shotgun, that's great. I mean, you could maybe hit the other side of Alan's place with the shotgun. And then, maps are available, restricted areas. If you go online, you can find, they'll have it, like, this is a, part of the main island trust, whatever thing and that. And the tickets for antlerless are unlimited, they're $10 a pop, you can keep getting them if you want to keep getting. So anybody like me, if I could hunt an island, I can get as many as I want. I only take 3 or 4 deer a year.
So would you have to hunt on a 10-acre lot though? Like, what about us people who live in small?
They'd have to be to follow the rules, same distance from structures, not so much property lines, but people's structures, roads, schools, anywhere, you know, that makes sense. And those rules have been around for a while, and I agree with almost 100% of the stuff in there.
You don't have to have 10 acres to come on with the property.
No, not if, so if we did have antlerless, expanded archery here, so the tag for that is called antlerless. So it's 3 inches or low, the trophy numbers out. So if you'd be able to shoot as many as you wanted here, with the, expanded archery with your antlerless deer tag. So when I hunt the outer islands, I mean, I can get as many as I want, but I don't need that much. And then the Maine Coast Trust Heritage Fund, they do a lot of those islands, and we hunt a lot of them. You know, it's a Dodge Point, probably. Hardwood Island, I've taken many a deer from Hardwood and everything else. Yes, and they all know about it. My dad drove around one of the guys, Peter Blanchard, Freddie Turnstone, who went out and picked up all the stuff. The Maine Coast Trust Heritage thing is pretty cool. They go out and pick up garbage and they protect the island so people like me can go out and use them. Yeah, I made it clear that we were hunting up there. Good. Too many deer out there.
I'm glad that you did.
Yeah, and it's important that we take deer off those outer islands too, because again, like one big storm on a little island, they're all gonna get wiped out. It won't take that long to move out the beach, so everything's under feet now. Alright, done.
All right, yes, sir.
David Coleman, Passover. In the archery definition, is crossbows considered archery, and do they have more of a safety risk than a regular bow and hunting arrow? Do they go farther?
Yeah, I think that, yes, it does include crossbow. And I think it depends on who you talk to. Obviously, I think that you might disagree, but I know a lot of hunters who do hunt with bow and say there's much more powerful than a regular bow.
Yes, they're more powerful, but I still think it's within a state.
And by the way, archery in Maine now classifies crossbows as part of archery too.
Yep, that's what we just said.
Oh, okay, sorry, didn't get you.
Yep. All right, any new comments? Anything you guys would like to add, your 2 cents on any of it, or?
I'm at the point where I'm having a real hard time believing something doesn't need to be done. I love the deer. I've actually been able to hand feed one a couple times, just trying to do it. They're tame. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous when you can walk up to one like that. I was thinking, I've had probably about every 5 years, a deer bounces off my vehicle. Usually it's them bouncing off me. The last time I got hit, I was doing maybe 10 miles an hour. I was almost stopped. There was a buck that was in mid-rut, didn't even know I was there. Replaced two doors on my truck. He hit me so hard. So I'm seeing plants that I own that have never been bothered by deer being eaten over the last winter. When I was young, I did some hunting. I haven't hunted for years. I am extremely concerned about people that don't know the area wandering around with high-powered weapons. Residents, people that know the area, that know where houses are, I don't have a concern with that. Open hunting season and unrestricted people running around with high-powered weapons is not going to get my vote either. But I think archery is a pretty good compromise. Depends on how you do it and all that. I think there'd be some nice way it would be nice to some way limit the population of deer. They are growing, and it's increasing how fast they're growing. Jamie mentioned My wife loves to take a drive around Seawall and all that, and I know Nancy Weingart's property is a great place to see deer. But that whole stretch through there, we've counted, I think the highest we've seen was 98 deer one night, and that's between Bass Harbor and basically about Hinckley's Yard, a 4-mile drive. I mean, it's pretty, she was really disappointed we didn't get an even hunt. But, I mean, it's really hard to make the argument there aren't too many deer.
Kenzie, you have anything? Kenzie's like,
I'm a big hunter.
Yeah, we can tell. Besides the obvious, yeah.
I don't know, like, I've gone back and forth 100 times, and I don't hate the expanded archery season. I think it needs some tweaking. I agree with you, we need to do it the safest way possible, and I'm not a fan of people from Bangor coming down here with guns running around in my backyard. But you're following the same rules as any other hunter would be. Like people are saying, I mean, so many yards from the property lines, not on the school. Like, I think it can be done okay. And there's, like you said, I mean, there's only a handful of places, really, if you want to get technical, that you can even do that. I mean, you have to have a big swath of property, and most of us, have small pieces, so I don't know. The limited license group I know that you like, but that puts a huge responsibility on the select board and the town. Huge. So that makes me nervous. But again, I'm not saying that I'm sold on any one of them. And again, I mean, I think everybody needs to know that this is a hard decision for all of us, and nobody wants anybody to get hurt. Nobody wants anybody to get, in trouble. But it's a problem.
One thing I'd add too, anything that I would sign on to, I want to see an end date.
I agree with that, yes.
Do it on a trial basis at least and see how it works, and not have to jump through crazy hoops to try to get out of it.
I also like the expanded archery because, well, according to what we've sort of put together, and I guess that could be different, it's only from September to December. So it's not like somebody asked, would it be in the summer? No, like you have a start and you have an end. But yeah, the guys from Inland Fisheries said that, could we put a limit on it? Like if we tried this for a year and we're like, oh, this is terrible,
that
we
was
could
one of the
stop
things,
it.
yeah.
He did, okay.
Yeah.
We would have to know, and that's one thing that makes me nervous about not having like if we went with the expanded archery, one of my biggest things is it starts in September, which I think there's too many people here in September to even think about that. And then the second thing would be, it literally takes an act of Congress to stop this. If we just said, we are gonna open up expanded archery, period.
We have to have an end date, or
We
it's forever.
have to have an end date, yep,
Okay.
and they have to approve our end date, so then it becomes a special hunt, so, it's not a usual hunt.
Which it's a nightmare, but could you do it for a year, and if it goes well, renew it every year?
I don't know.
You can.
You can?
You can renew it. He said it's easier to renew it than to stop it.
To stop it. So
Yeah.
if you put an end date, and maybe September's not the right, but also Sarah and I have talked a couple of times, I mean, you don't issue that many expanded archery licenses in town, do you?
No, I only had 6 last year, so.
So like he was saying, I don't think our town is gonna get inundated with 200 people all over the state of Maine coming to.
Not the herd either, it was 6 guys.
Well, right,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I
that's
know.
why you need to open it up to non-residents also, but like I said, I don't think you're gonna get half of Bangor coming down here.
And the
to-
regular hunting season though is later in September, like when people are
Yeah.
hunting with guns and stuff, isn't until after Halloween, right?
Yeah.
Can
November.
we set up a place to receive and donate meat for some of the people around the island?
Sure.
Well, no, that was another thing that we ran into already. I know we need a lot more research in all of this.
Yeah,
This
we
is
don't
just
have all of
preliminary,
this.
but, you're only allowed, Heath, you were there at the meeting, what, 3? 3 per hunter, correct me if I'm wrong. Beyond that, so if I just say I had I went out and did archery, had 10 of them, then I can legally only give 3 away. Beyond that, you have to be USDA certified in processing the meat, yada, yada, yada. So that was, it's too bad because one would think it's very easy to give to people who need that.
It is easy to
Yeah,
get.
but it's, but legally,
Right.
you're only allowed 3.
meat locker processing?
No, I believe we could have it, we could have them processed. The town could pay for them to be processed. And then that would be the way around it.
So, yes, so beyond the 3 current state law for regular hunting, beyond the 3, you're required to have processed. The state biologist said that in a plan, if the town was presenting a plan, they would look at changing that number for the town, but we'd
Mhm.
have to suggest what we wanted it to be.
Yeah. So they would, I'm just trying to, walk through the ideas
Yeah.
with it. So if we had a number such as 10, then that would allow you to, shoot 10 per hunter. Give away the meat from 10 to whoever you would, like to. Cause that's my biggest, I don't wanna see anything go to waste. If
Yeah,
there-
and that's
there's
the-
no,
Yeah.
there's,
Shooting deer, not eating is
Yeah.
messed up.
Right, and
Yeah.
nobody wants to see them lying on the side of the road
Yeah.
or in your backyard, I
You-
mean,
you've got-
nobody wants that, so.
yes.
Everything I've heard, it doesn't sound like it's gonna put a big dent, on the population of deer on this island. I haven't heard anything that's gonna put a big dent, which I thought was the entire purpose of this. I'm against any killing of deer on this island. We've lived like this for 100 years in this island without having to do it. If predators come in, great, that's what a national park is about. I wanna see predators. I wanna see coyotes, I wanna see bobcats, I wanna see foxes, and they will help with the deer, especially the coyote. But if we're doing this because deer are eating plants, on your yard and things like that, I thought, is that what this is about? Am I wrong?
My car.
I think-
It's a little bit of everything, right?
Everything you've said is not gonna put a dent in the population of deer on this island.
I think, hang on a second.
It's only in Tremont, we can't do the whole island.
Yeah.
They did an organized hunt in the 60s, didn't they, over Bar Harbor?
Yeah, they did. And it's our job as the select board to try to get the best plan together that we feel like could happen, either a yes or a no. And then it goes to voters. The voters are the ones who decide. We don't
We
decide
don't make it,
anything.
yeah.
It's for
You're
voters
just
of the
deciding
town
what
of
goes
Tremont.
to the voters, right?
Yes, we just decide what goes to them. Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna say, it's way too early to know whether this is gonna put a dent in anything. And without trying, you never know, but it's a start, and it has to start somewhere. I've pulled 2 living deer off the road. They were suffering. One still had spots. Everybody here has either seen a dead deer on the road or had hit one themselves. That's not good for the deer. Having them starve is not good for the deer.
That's still gonna happen, no matter what.
But the fact that they're eating things that they never ate before is a sign that there's too many that hurt.
Too many.
Right,
Too many.
if you're compassionate about the deer, you have to look at it
So
from
how
that
many deer are
perspective.
you gonna kill then to make this happen? How many deer do you
We don't
think
know.
that-
I don't know what the numbers are.
All right, let's try to stick to comments
But
and not
it's
turn it
too
into a
early to
debate
know
back and
whether
forth.
this is gonna put a dent in it, and if it doesn't put a dent in it, then we revisit it and we find something that does.
Are there studies about using birth control?
Yes.
You can't do birth control.
No, you can sterilize,
You have to basically sterilize.
you have to manhandle it,
Yes.
stress it out.
All right,
You can't just.
all right,
Once more.
Charlotte.
All right, well, I have yet to see the 3-legged deer from genetic issues. I've seen a lot of 3-legged deer, but they were hit by cars. So let's go back to that for a second. Yeah, we do, I've hit deer before, I think everybody has, that is terrible. But back to the speed limits, so maybe we should work on those. Maybe we should look at Seawall Road over there where it's, 35, where it's going into the national park where the deer are gathering. That's something. But also for the people who are talking about the nuisance deer that are eating their plants, remember that the does, they travel within no more than a mile radius generally. The bucks, they'll go maybe 2 or 3. So if you wanna get rid of your nuisance deer, then you're gonna have to have the hunting right there on your property to get rid of those specific deer. That's just how that works. That's
I think they're giving out a lot of nuisance permits lately. Everyone I've talked to that has gotten hold of the state has gone.
If it's on somebody's private property and that's what they wanna do, then, you know, I guess,
That's where you gotta get
guess
permission.
have that.
Resident, if I can only take one or two a year, that doesn't really put a dent in it.
But that's why we need permission on other property, because if you do
Yeah, it's not,
service
like
thing,
you said, though,
All right.
it's not gonna make it then, and the predators, if we were bringing in more predators, we wouldn't be having this problem with so many deer. So maybe bring in more predators, I don't know. But I think first, again, let's go back to stop feeding the deer, because nature has a way of managing its own numbers. If they're not getting food, they're not gonna breed as much.
I would love to do that. I don't know how though.
Well, there's gotta be a better way.
All right, I saw one more hand up, and then I think we'll probably close the public hearing after that.
That's okay, I'm fine.
Okay.
I
All
keep
right.
hearing about the predators, by the way. I'd love to see mountain lions around. I've never seen a wild mountain lion. I would love that.
Oh, yeah, there's been bobcats forever. All right, I am closing the public hearing at 6:11.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Cable crossing road's a new hotspot.
That makes me feel bad that my giving me that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'll give you a call. I want
The meetings are on YouTube too.
Right.
They're recorded. I mean, you can actually see what they were saying. I said it was summary.
Just look up Tremont.
Yeah, if you go to the website.
Again, what's the website, you know, what it's under on YouTube?
Maybe it's Dallas or something.
I don't know. All right. Okay, we've got to continue our meeting, everybody. We have to continue our meeting.
See, Mark.
All right, next we have approval of minutes. We have the minutes from June 16th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 16th, 2025.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from June 16th, 2025. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Approval of warrants. We have from fiscal year 25, we have warrant 135 for $23,942.96. 136 for $50,291.53. 137 for $1,127.50. 138 for $78,546. 139 for $3,782.75. 140 for $46,491.84. 141 for $2,758.15. And then from FY26, we have warrant 1, which is $15,881.08. 2 for $16,071.40. And 3 for $144,239.70.
I make a motion to approve warrants 135 through 141 from fiscal year 25 and warrants 1 through 3 from fiscal year 26.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve warrants 135 through 141 from FY25 and 1 through 3 from FY26. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right. Next, we have committee appointments. We have one at-large seat for the Housing Authority. And Mr. Ward McKenzie has been on that board and would like to be reappointed.
I make a motion to appoint Ward McKenzie to the at-large seat on the Housing Authority, expiring June 30th, 2030.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Ward McKenzie to the at-large seat on the Housing Authority, term expiring June 30th, 2030. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right, regular business. We have our FY25 audit. This is, appoint an auditor for this year. Obviously, I don't think we've had any issues with Jim. It's been unbelievably well.
I'll make a motion to contract with James W. Wadman CPA to complete the town's annual audit for the year ending June 30th, 2025, and to authorize the chair to sign the proposal.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to contract with James W. Wadman CPA to complete the town's annual audit for the years ending June 30th, 2025, and to authorize the chair to sign the proposal. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right, next we have Bass Harbor Boat Races / Backside Blast. See, we have Bonnie and company here for to maybe summarize a little bit of how everything went. I know that most of us were all there anyway, so we know how everything went. And I have to say it was a great crowd, and it definitely seems like it's turning into what it was years ago. So you guys did an awesome job. Yeah, it's.
You guys hustled.
Yeah,
That's a lot of work, and we appreciate it.
I
And
can't
it's
even
really fun.
imagine the hours that you put in.
Okay. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, we're sort of getting it down pat now. This is our second year, obviously. Next year it's gonna go a little bit more smoothly. I mean, we didn't really have many hiccups. You know, we might be able to get more donations next year, but what did we get there for, 21,000?
Yeah, but people are still donating the day of the boat races, so
Yeah.
we've had donations coming in.
I mean, I think everyone was happy about it. The only thing that I heard about the boat races is, why don't you guys charge a fee for the boaters? Everybody else charged,
Yeah.
in fact, the boat race wherever it was last weekend, they charged $10 more this year. It's $35.
Everybody charged more, Winter Harbor charged more, yeah, but that was a stipulation we had to get through this year.
Mhm.
Next year, I plan on it being the committee that decides the things.
For anybody who doesn't know, also, what we did with the prizes is we packaged up, I think it ended up at 55 races. And then we had a
$200 value.
Yeah, $200 value, so everybody who races gets $200 prize, no matter what. And usually there's one prize at other places, and so that's an incentive to come. Everybody got something, and, you know, people.
Bonus prizes.
And then we had 8 bonus prizes from like 300 to 500.
Yep.
And so we put everyone's name back in the hat, and it was a random draw for that. So it's a good incentive for people to come, and they don't have to even pay an admission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it went from 47 to 57 this year.
Yeah. I think there were many more than that were watching.
That was just for the racers,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
and
I
2
think-
of them registered like on the water.
Yeah.
It was good.
No, I thought.
I think
so.
there must have been about 60 boats out there watching the races.
Yeah.
A definite shortage of sailboats. I was all by myself.
Yeah.
We need more sailboats, we'll push that. I felt like the lobster feed was amazing. I mean, I think we did.
It was a lot better than last year, so
Yeah.
much better.
I mean, if
the
you-
turnout alone, I think people didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah.
And this year they're like, oh, okay.
I mean, I happen to know that one of my acquaintances, she comes up for the summer, but she had a bunch of teenage boys, probably college age boys, and they participated in Frolic, and it was amazing. They were like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
Everyone just wanted to get involved.
And it was a good turnout for the Pollock Frolic. Last year we had 2 teams for each, adults and children, and this year I think we had 6 or 7
Yeah.
for the adults and kids, so.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
When you can get a police officer to do it, but you
I know.
can't get
He was
can't get
awesome.
Sean to do it. He's watching there, he's just taking pictures, but no fit for you. But no, it was a good time, good music, good. It was perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know if it's the
And we
right
have-
time or not, but well, go
We
ahead.
have a follow-up meeting this Wednesday, and we'll, give Jesse the minutes if you guys want to know
Mhm.
that much about it.
think that we need to do something for all the ladies on that did all of this, cause it's a ton of work.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they like lobster.
Yeah, no, well, that's, we need to think of some
Yeah.
ideas of what we can do.
And thank you to Heather too. I mean,
Yeah.
she
I
lets
know.
us take
Yeah.
over her whole place.
Well,
Yeah.
I think she did amazing.
Good.
I
Good.
think
She
she
did
good.
the line was like
Yeah.
an hour long, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she's gonna revamp that next year too, where
Yeah.
all
We'll get that right this
Roman
time.
K's going, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that like everything was, it ended just the right time. It started I thought it was too early to start, but it really wasn't. By the time everything flowed
flowed
perfectly.
well, yeah.
It was ideal.
And you had a great mix of like tourists and locals. Like it was like
Yeah.
a mix of like everybody, so that's fun.
Those people from Bar Harbor, and the whole works. Yeah. Can't even get him going tonight. Yeah, no, thank you for all of your hard work and everybody's hard work.
Well, great volunteers, we get quite the group together, so,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys volunteer, so.
Yeah, well, I'd like to know how many hours you put in, Ellen.
Don't ask.
Yeah, I know.
I don't get paid for this. You wouldn't wanna pay me.
All right, so we'll address that at a later date, Desi.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next we have regional collaboration. That's all on you, Jesse.
Yes, so this is, update, you agreed to add this to your, first meeting of the month agendas. Just updates on some regional issues, mostly resulting out of League of Towns meetings. So I just had a couple on here for tonight. Housing update, Noel Musson, the Musson Group is continuing to work with the League of Towns on regional issues around housing and transportation that came out of the League of Towns elected officials workshop that were held last October and this past April. Over the next couple of months, he's planning to attend each town's select board meeting or council meeting to get local input and discussion on the subjects before the next workshop in October. Noel is scheduled to attend your August 11th meeting. Seawall update, the Acadia National Park, Management Assistant John Kelly, informed the League of Towns that the park has received supplemental funding from Congress to fund storm-related damages and is working with the state to fully fund the resiliency improvements on Seawall Road. The park's receiving disaster supplemental funds and plans to use the Good Neighbor Authority under Section 351 of the Explore Act to help fund the reconstruction of Seawall Road damaged in the 2024 storms. Acadia will be the first national park to use the authority, and the park is currently in discussions with Maine DOT on next steps, including the scope of work and transferring the funding to the state. The original estimate was about $1.5 million, and the park is prepared to give that amount to the state.
Yay.
Unregulated intoxicating hemp products. During the last League of Towns meeting, the league had a presentation from Natasha Johnson and a discussion on unregulated intoxicating hemp products that are available for purchase in our communities. A law just went into effect in June, making it illegal to purchase these if you're under the age of 21. There are currently no other regulations on them, so there's no required distances from schools or anything like that that apply to marijuana products. The majority of samples that were brought to the League of Towns were in kid-friendly, enticing packaging and are sold in many convenience stores here on the island, including here in Tremont. The drinks that contain the products are not placed with the 21 and over drinks. They're at various locations in the store. I think here they're near the hot dog counter.
Cider coffee. I saw
Yeah,
that.
cider coffee.
Yeah.
And those are drinks that have hemp in them? I'm
Yes.
unclear on unregulated intoxicating hemp products.
Yes, so there's a whole bunch of,
I know.
yeah.
Okay.
lab
We're getting too old
change.
because I looked at it like,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
is this
yeah.
doing here?
Yeah.
Is this like iced coffee or what do we got going on?
Okay, so you drink it out of a can is what we're,
It's a whole lot of
Yeah.
lab manufactured.
no wonder it's with the hot dogs.
So, this topic, and perhaps a discussion of a moratorium around them will be on the July League of Towns agenda. There was some discussion after the League of Towns meeting that perhaps the league should discuss a regional moratorium being developed, that the whole region could adopt at a similar time. So I'll have more on that after the League of Towns.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. Now that they're gone, my idea was we should get them dinner somewhere.
Yeah.
Because they have supplied dinner for
Yeah.
everybody else. There's a lot of hours they put in. And I was thinking, I'm sure you've got great ideas to go with it, but pick somewhere's local here and just, all of them, just buy them all.
Just give them Jesse's credit card.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, or have Jesse take them, or one of us take
Yeah.
them and.
No, I love that.
Yep.
I think that's a great idea.
Don't put that in the paper. Thank you. All right, next we have town manager's report.
So over the last couple weeks, I met with a resident of Gott's Island about the cemetery out there. He had some questions on whether or not it's a town-owned cemetery. We're currently investigating that. It appears it was deeded to the school district in 1875.
School district.
But nothing beyond that, so we're looking at it. I met with the sustainability coordinator from Hancock County Planning Commission, had some TextMyGov setup meetings, met with the broadband rep from Hancock County Planning Commission. I did the public safety building, the potential building, a tour with the public safety building committee and fire department and EMS. I attended the League of Towns meeting. I had a Spectrum Zoom call on some issues setting up phones here and also shifting over phones and internet at the harbor master's office. I attended the lobster boat race safety meeting prior to the race. I attended the backside blast weekend events. We had our safety meeting here at the town through the workers' safety incentive program. Agenda prep, a Climate to Thrive meeting regarding upcoming grant. I had a meeting with Maine Emergency Management regarding the public assistance funds from FEMA that we've been waiting for. They are still in limbo. He was able to go in and see that they have been approved for payment, so they just need to click a button and print the check. But he explained that the state apparently goes into a shutdown at the end of the fiscal year where they don't print any checks for anything for a period of 2 to 4 weeks. So he expects it'll lift sometime in early July, and then the checks should be going out after that. I also prepped for this week's EMS planning committee. Office staff was busy with VMP reports, filing liens at the registry, vitals training, marriage intentions, attended the safety meeting. The admin assistant was working on the TextMyGov setup and freedom of access training, and we completed the fiscal year end for FY25. Public Works changed the battery in the speed sign out near Rummel Road, trimmed and mowed cemeteries, Algerine Coast, picked up boat race stuff that was left at the garage in the harbor, fixed metal siding on the Public Works garage, prepared the tent structure for demolition, mowed the town office, moved the fuel cabinet that was in the tent structure, patched a large pothole on Rice Road, fixed the sign on Back Beach, mowed the trail out here, dug a ditch for Tyler to run conduit for the cameras, trimmed branches at Hillrest, removed an overgrown shrub at Marsh Cemetery. They attended the safety meeting and helped set up the boat races. Harbor Master was busy with prep for the boat races and boat race day, wiring the new camera system. Sealco Floats has a board replaced, office set up in the new office, paving prep for the ramp, screwed down some decking on the wharf, replaced the hoist rope. He was very busy with transient float rentals and attended the safety meeting. weeks, I'll be doing the FY '26 tax commitment and hosting the July League of Towns meeting here.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. Suggestions for the next meeting? Date of the next meeting?
Make a motion to set the date of the next meeting for Monday, August 11th, 2025, at 5 PM at the town office.
Second.
That's right, we get a month off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I was noticing that.
It's been moved and seconded to confirm the date of the next meeting for Monday, August 11th, 5 PM at the town office. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
I almost slid September in there instead of.
Yeah, you should have said September, and I don't blame you.
But, by the way, have you seen that strange guy here with a really strange hairdo sitting in the crowd?
Oh, yeah, I know.
He looks like trouble.
Yeah, I don't even think Heath recognizes him. He's like, who's this guy I'm sitting